Why is it that we go to God in prayer and we don't get the answer that we ask for? After all, Matthew 7:7 says, "Ask and it shall be given you, seek and ye shall find." When you are sincerely striving to obey God's commandments, He will give you answers to your prayers and you will be ready to receive them. And that's the part that many people don't understand, that God can answer your prayer, but He will do it according to His will. The Amish are very strong in their faith as far as accepting God's will for anything that happens in their lives. I know some people have put comments in my videos and said that I'm glorifying the Amish religion and things like that. I just want to make it clear that I'm not promoting their religion. I'm not promoting their rules and regulations and things like that. I admire the Amish for the way that they live a simple life and they are not worldly. And I, more than anything, admire their faith and accepting God's will. And I understood what God's will was when I saw that faith in action. I shared it in a video that I made, and I have the link above. And it happened many years ago when a Mennonite woman came to one of our yard sales, and her husband had died on his lawnmower. My mom had hired him actually to mow. And I remember we were sitting at our yard sale just talking about it, how horrific that accident was, and how sad. They had like 11 children, and the woman that happened to come up and be in that yard sale happened to be his sister. And she just looked at us with pure acceptance and said it was his time. It was God's will. And I'll never, ever forget that, how profound that belief that she had was. And I've seen it in action. I want to share a story with you today, one's faith in action and accepting God's will. When you get to see faith in action, it can change lives. And I want to go back to December. Our family had a wonderful announcement. My daughter found out that she was pregnant, and this would be the 9th grandchild. Her sister's 5 and so excited. One of the older grandchildren asked if she could do a reveal party, so she put that into motion. We decided to have a big party at Easter, and there was a big reveal party, and it's a girl. And of course, sister was very, very excited. So things were on the up and up. Well, I had gone to the scans with my daughter because her husband had to work, and we started after the reveal. We were at a scan, and I noticed, man, this thing's taken a long time. It was like over an hour. And to make a long story short, we ended up going to several scans. And the first one, they started finding things wrong, like the baby had an extra toe on one of its feet. There was a couple cysts, and then they wanted to do a test for possible trisomy 13, 18, or 21. In our heads, we're thinking, oh, it's probably has Down syndrome. And of course, my daughter said, absolutely, I'll take a test. And we find out that it's not Down syndrome. It's trisomy 18, which is kind of Down syndrome with more complications, if that makes sense. And at this time, the doctor offered for her to end the pregnancy because trisomy 18 does not have almost no rate of child living a very long life. And we're talking a few hours, few days, very few even make it to their first birthday. And she was very hopeful, praying, very positive, and absolutely said, no, I want to carry my baby. I'm not going to end the pregnancy, which right there for me was a huge statement of her faith. As more time went on, each scan, and now her husband is starting to get involved because now it's more serious. And we find that there's a bad heart, the liver's bad, there's a hernia, the lungs are not developing, there's amniotic fluids that's building up, and one thing after another. And I'll never forget the day that the doctor told her, I was in the appointment with her and her husband. They had asked me to go just to make sure they didn't not hear anything. And I'll never forget when he used the word lethal, like the child has no chance. There's no surgery that can be done. Nothing is going to change the outcome. And how do you trust God and still have faith when you've been praying for healing, praying for a miracle, and that's not the answer? And somebody had told me once that as a parent, your child comes to you and asks for something, and it's up to you to answer that question or give them the request with a yes or a no. And you're choosing the answer that is best for them. And that's how our Father in heaven is. He will give you the answer that is best for the big plan, if that makes sense. It's not always what we want, but it's what he knows is best, and it's always his will. And that's where you see faith in action, when somebody can hold on to that truth and trust God to give them what they need to know today, one day at a time. We don't always know the answers for the future, but we can hold on to today. And that's what having trust in God and trusting his will means. And when you see a person have peace when they do that and have strength, they're getting it from God. And I've seen other people, what I've learned from this is I've seen other people that have had horrific things going on in their lives, and they seem so strong, and you're like, okay, they're okay. But I just wanted to share this story now that I see behind the scenes. And just because you see somebody that has a strong faith and they're hanging on to God's truth and his plan, do know that behind the scenes, they do have a heavy heart, a broken heart. It isn't what they want. They're just trusting God for what he has planned for their lives. So what can you do? Pray for them. Pray for them for continued strength and to be able to get through whatever it is they're going through. And I just wanted to share this because sometimes even if you're the one going through it, you feel like there's nowhere to turn, nothing that's going to help you get through it. And it's absolutely God. He can help you get through it, but you have to trust him and trust his plan and trust his will. I want to share a couple of verses with you that you can hang on to. God's love reaches into every crack and crevice of our lives, drawing us into his embrace. There is nowhere on earth that his love cannot find us. Psalms 139, 7-12. He seeks us and turns us back toward him when we wander dark paths of sin. His love also confronts us in the depths of mental or physical illness, pain, and suffering that may have nothing to do with our own sin. This doesn't mean our lives on earth will be perfect or easy. God only promises perfection in eternity. But for those who call him Father on earth, his faithful presence comforts us even now. Words from someone that's trusting God right now in this journey. We are not promised perfection, not in this lifetime. It's not for us to question why things are happening or how he could allow it. It is for us to move forward, trusting fully in his goodness, his love, and his plans, grateful each day for each day. I have a link at the top of a song that might help you if you're going through something or something that kind of has been powerful for me to listen to during this time. And hopefully it'll give you some peace as well.